Number one mistake that I have seen with the ALFs and with other businesses, not to just say it's ALF owners, when they get into a partnership with outside people or family members or whoever the case may be, but they elect one person to set it up as an LLC. That person then becomes responsible for setting that up and filing it on their personal tax return.
Hello, friend. Welcome. My name is Carline Cadet Francois. I am your host today. I am from Florida Assisted Living Consulting. We help busy professionals open thriving assisted living businesses throughout the state of Florida. We also build community. One of the most affordable ways that you can have direct access to me is through the Thriving Circle community, where I go live monthly and provide direct resources to you. Check the link in the description for more information. We also the host for the Assisted Living Caregivers Conference. It's an annual conference for Florida entrepreneurs that are trying to get into the ALF business, but are lacking resources and need to be in the rooms where people in Florida that will help them succeed are there. We normally sell out in this event. Check the link in the description. 2026, I've been selling out. We're having a 2-day conference. Today, we are here with an amazing guest. And before we dive in, I'd like for you to help us reach our first 5,000 subscribers. So I need your help. If you find any value in this video, please consider to like, subscribe, and share it with someone that will find it valuable. Miss Jody is a dedicated tax professional known for providing accurate, affordable, and reliable tax services for individuals, caregivers, and business owners across the state of Florida. With deep expertise in personal, corporate partnerships, and ALF-related tax preparations, she helps clients stay compliant while maximizing deduction. Jody is committed to honesty, integrity, in serving her community, making tax season less stressful and more empowering for families, caregivers, and senior living operators. Miss Jody, I am so excited to have you on the show. Welcome. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning, Carline. Thank you so much for having me today. It's always a pleasure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jody Gibbons. I am the owner of Tip Top Taxes located in Lauderhill, Florida. I have just over 15 years of experience in the tax industry overall. I started at the bottom as a receptionist and worked my way up over the years until I eventually opened my own firm. We're coming up on 9 years now, so I'm excited about that, and we're continuing to expand. Moving into the upcoming season, we will have even more staff on board as well as we continue to grow. My background does lie in personal tax preparation. However, as Ms. Carline mentioned, I also work with ALF providers, corporations, partnerships, S-corps, and we do also some state tax preparation. So I have clients that do reside outside of Florida as well. So if you're not actually in Florida, we can assist you as well. I do IRS audits, payroll, and deal with Florida and Georgia revenue for those business owners that have sales tax or reemployment tax. Yes, and that's pretty much my operation in a nutshell. Outside of we are open year round, so we're always here to serve you and educate you and make sure you are compliant with Uncle Sam.
Wow, that is well said, because I will say we use your services. I love the way that you make the process easy. Well, easy on my end.
Yes, and I think that's the number one thing that we strive for is, not only to make the process as smooth as possible. Dealing with the IRS can be very intimidating, especially when you have a business. Do I need this? Do I need that? What do I need? So we try to make that process as smooth as possible and just kind of take away the stress and the anxiety that comes with dealing with the IRS.
Yes. And then even besides like the taxes, you also offer other services throughout the year. What are some of those services that you offer?
Right. So we do the IRS audits. A lot of those do come outsourced from, clients that are probably not clients of mine already. They may have gone somewhere else. They're not able to reach their tax preparer, or maybe their tax preparer is just not able to assist them. So we're versed in audits. I would say those are targeted mainly to personal tax return, but it depends on the issue. If there's something with a corporate S corp or partnership return, we can always take a look at it. And if it's not something that we can handle, I do have somebody that I can outsource that to. He is a wonderful individual. His name is Mr. Herb Cantor. He was an IRS agent for over 35 years. And also one of my mentors. So I do have a arsenal in the background if it's not something that we can take on within the firm. We do payroll. So especially for those business owners that have employees, or maybe you're a gig worker or a contractor, you're being paid in a 1099. We need to educate you on either estimated payments, which are done quarterly, or even, like I mentioned, putting you on payroll. That again is another conversation based on each individual. And then we do Florida revenue, Georgia revenue. A lot of that is sales tax, but we do have some reemployment tax that we deal with that as well. And business setup. So if you have a business idea and you're not sure how to set it up, and you need to get registered with the state and also properly set up your EIN number with IRS, we can assist with that as well.
That is amazing, because not these days, but in my younger days, I used to, you find this person that does taxes and you go there, they're available around tax season.
Right. And I think people forget that taxes are year round, like it doesn't stop. Well, let me not say that, because IRS does shut down the e-file system November 15th so that they can get ready for the following season come January. But throughout the year, I think that's another misconception that people have as well. They think if they don't file by the April 15th deadline, that they have to wait until the following year to file. So that is not true. You can file after April 15th, plenty of time. And again, case by case basis, depending on what's going on. But the system itself is open from January, whenever they open it. It typically was the 15th, but I'm sure as many of you noticed, it's been pushed to the 22nd, around that area the last few years since COVID. But the system itself remains open for the year until about the middle to the end of November, where they just shut down the e-file system to update it and get it ready for the following season.
Wow, that's amazing to hear, because not only like people who don't really do this type of work for a living, they make it seem like the system shuts down because they're available around tax season to do taxes, collect money, and do the best that they can. But if you have any issues with your taxes or anything that may come up throughout the year, you're on your own. So it's kind of like,
well, no longer. You can call Tip Top. So who are you going to call? Tip Top Taxes. But we are open year round. Yes. And I know exactly what you're saying, because like I mentioned previously with the audits, that is how we garner a lot of off season, so to speak, business, is because we're open year round. And like I said, those people that maybe it's not even an audit, maybe they haven't filed and they're calling like, hey, I know it's July, but I never did file my taxes. Are you open? Can I still file? And then we obviously go into the interview process and find out what we can and cannot do.
Yes. And I especially love the fact that you make it easier for busy professionals. Like, we don't have to make 100 trips to your office.
Yeah.
Like, you take care. Tell us a little bit about how you take care of things for busy professionals, how you make the process easier for them to help you help them.
Right. So I think it's important to have a sit down with each client, especially in the beginning when you're first getting to know them. So as you know, like with our situation, we can use as an example. I had you come in so that we could meet. We interviewed each other in essence, and I gave you some information and gave you a list of things that would be, beneficial to keep track of. Of course, every business and every situation is different. So even with ALF, not one ALF is the same as every other ALF. So everybody has their own unique things that are going on within and without, that particular business. Because we have to remember that we're the business owner, but we also have personal taxes outside of that. So I think, having that conversation and educating so that people are aware of, okay, so for the business, I would need to keep track of these things and, collect these. I have clients that send me paperwork periodically, like every quarter. They'll send me a certain amount of stuff so that I can save it and have it on file. I have clients that will send me stuff quarterly so I can prepare profit and loss statements for that quarter, which also help coming up for the tax season because we're already doing the dirty work on the back end, and it's not having to be done all at once. For new clients, if they're local, again, I prefer that meeting happen in person. If they're not local, we can do Zoom. I would prefer Zoom again for the first conversation. It's more, face to face and getting to know each other's situation and making you feel comfortable with me and my services as well, and the people that are working with me. We have a secure system where you can submit documents. So we work with a company that actually only works with tax offices to make everything secure. It's encrypted. So you're able to upload documents. And then when they get over on my side, I'm the only one that has access to them unless I let you know, okay, one of my other preparers is going to work on this with me. So she'll have access as well. And then we move forward with the preparation, especially with businesses, though, there can be a lot of back and forth. And I want to say that I would like for clients to look at that as a good thing because we don't want to miss anything. So going back and forth just to confirm, whether it be on phone or whether it be through email, because again, email seems to be the best way to communicate, especially like you said, with busy business owners. They're running the business, so it's not easy for them to keep, picking up the phone and answering this, answering that. But just making sure that we're not missing anything or I'm clarifying something to make sure that, we're on the right page. And again, like you said in the beginning, just making sure that we're compliant, but we are minimizing our tax liability to the fullest extent of the IRS tax code.
This video is brought to you by the Florida Assisted Living and Caregivers Conference. It is an annual conference for all those who want to open an assisted living right here in Florida. We bring you all of the who's that will help you achieve your ALF. We have caregivers, we have people that already have their assisted living up and running, and they are here for resources. We have caregivers caring for mom and dad at home, but lack resources, so they show up for more resources. We have investors that are in the room looking for partnerships because they don't necessarily want to manage, but they are looking for someone to do the day-to-day while they can do the other investments. We also bring to you all of the sub-industries, those providers that help you get your ALF up and running, the providers that will come to your ALF to provide services to your seniors. We bring everyone in the room for the first time. This event normally sells out. Click the link in the description and I will see you in the room. Love that. I love that because I do know that we can have so many things going on all at once. I too have experienced how you want to confirm this. You want to make sure this is still accurate. You want to make sure this is still current. And it goes a long way. And I see your passion in the way that you do it, checking up on people, making sure that, things are how they are supposed to be instead of waiting last minute and I'm running.
Right. And I think that comes in handy too, because we want to have all the documentation. If by chance a client should get audited, it's not something that we have to worry about. Oh, the IRS wants to see A, B, and C. Okay, no problem. Here's A, B, and C. What else would you like? So we're dotting all our I's, crossing all our T's. We're making sure that we're compliant. We're making sure that there's the paper trail to back everything up. It's not just Oh, you made 100,000 and you spent 70 of it. Okay, perfect. Let me just jot that down really quick. Like, there's a process, and that process is not only going to, like I said, keep you compliant, but it's going to help you in the long run, because maybe you might want to get business lines of credit, or maybe you might want to purchase another property. If I'm just, winging it and putting whatever down on the paper, when it comes time for you to start showing all of these financials and tax returns and things to back everything up, you're not going to be in a good place if it doesn't go A to Z and it's going Z to R.
I agree. And a lot of people, the way that this type of business happens, they start one ALF and then they build enough credit or be likely to be lendable, right? And then they get funding and then they open another building. So it's important that you have someone that can help you. You may not be planning on doing all of that. You may be focused on just getting your first ALF up and running, but you have someone that's already prepping you for the next ALF.
Right.
So that you can get loans, so that your mortgage lender can get the information that they need.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Again, I can't go too much into the specifics of mortgage lending because I'm not a mortgage lender. I do communicate with mortgage lenders for my clients to, identify areas that, okay, they're looking for this type of property and these are the guidelines that they have to follow or whatnot. And we'll have a conversation to see if it's something that, because I say that because some mortgage lenders don't understand tax returns. So they'll call me to clarify, oh, okay, so it's a partnership. Oh, okay, so they had a gain, but the year before that they had a loss. Okay, I see. So now they're having a return on investment, things of that nature. But as far as, qualifications of how much do you have to make and what is your loss ratio, things of that nature, that would be specific to the mortgage lender that they're going through. But again, just being compliant, not even with the business, like I said, the business also falls to personal. So if you're an LLC, that business is actually being filed on your personal tax return. If you are a partnership or say an S Corp, we have to file that return first because it's generating what's called a K1 with either your profit or your loss. That K1 then carries over to your personal return. So maybe, like you said, maybe the person might just only want to have one ALF. They're not, really looking to expand or anything like that. But maybe on the personal side, they might want to buy another home for themselves, or they might be looking to buy a car, or they might want to invest in purchasing a piece of land, or whatever the case may be. Again, we just want everything to flow properly from one to the other, or one on its own, so that everything matches up when it comes time to do whatever you need in the other financial aspects of the world.
I love that. And I especially love to hear that you do help the lenders out when it comes to what you do from the piece of the pie. You can explain your portion of what this is, why this was done this way, because
Correct.
I do understand everybody wants to stay in their lanes. There's liabilities when you get out of your lane. And so I love to see that you do collaborate with them. So if your client is trying to open another ALF or buy something that they need a loan personally, it's good to know that they can have their lenders reach out to you if they themselves cannot explain their taxes. So that's amazing to hear.
Yeah, it's just more of giving a breakdown, like I said. Yeah, breaking down the tax return to them.
Yes, I love that. So I see your passion for this. How did you lend it in being this expert tax preparer that you do?
Well, thank you for that. So I actually started off as a receptionist in a tax office. So just being around and, hearing different situations and seeing different things come around. This was I would say a small to mid-sized firm that I worked for. So there were many preparers that were in there. Some of them worked year round, some of them were seasonal, but I would get to see the clients and, see some of the cases that they were dealing with and, just listening and observing to what was going on. And I would have to say that actually my passion really fell with the IRS audits, believe it or not.
Wow.
Being able to, help that client fight for their rights, because we as taxpayers have rights as well. And I noticed that a lot of clients would just be immediately intimidated by that letter, that first letter that would come in the mail. Because we all know, if you've ever gotten a IRS letter, it starts off in the top in big bold letters, intent to seize property and lien on so they just make it intimidating from the very beginning. I mean, you just filed the taxes 30 days ago. You're finally getting the letter to show exactly how much you owe and, to break down your payment plan. And they're already talking about seizing property and putting liens. And it's like, wait a second, I haven't even had a chance to set up a payment plan yet. So I get it. And I always tell my clients, if there's anything that I've learned over the years, the number one mistake that people make with getting letters from the IRS is avoidance. So they'll get the letters, they either, just chuck it to the side, I'll deal with it later, and then forget about it, or they open it, don't understand it, and don't do anything about it. I would say reach out to somebody, like whether it be your tax professional or the IRS directly, or if you reach out to Tip Top, again, if you have somebody that you've been with for years and knows your situation, I say stick with them, because everybody's tax situation is different. And if you have somebody that knows yours, stay with them. But avoiding IRS letters is the biggest mistake I think that people make, because when you avoid them altogether, it really just only makes it worse.
Yes, I can only imagine having worked your whole life for whatever that you end up having, whether it's your home, or to get one of those very boldly intimidated.
Yes.
That makes your chest just become so tight and you put it down.
Right.
You're like, I gotta breathe.
They're like
you
the
forget
middle
about it.
Bully in the cafeteria. Like yeah, very intimidating from the jump.
And you're like, oh, what am I gonna do? Well, now you know what to do. Now you know what not to do.
Right.
Make that phone call.
Yeah.
Take action, right,
Yes.
Miss Jody?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
do something about it.
Yeah.
Do something about it. Oftentimes people see those big amounts because money is different from person to person, and they think, I don't have that kind of money to pay.
Right.
What are some advice that you give to clients? Of course, every situation is different, but what are the choices that they have?
It depends on how much you owe and what your financial situation is. But of course, we have the installment agreement, which is, a monthly payment plan. They take the total amount that you owe and spread it out over a certain amount of time, and you make a installment plan where they actually will withdraw the money from your bank account every month on a specific date, which is chosen by you when you set it up. Then we have, for people that I would say, maybe like 5,000 or less, you can actually just use the new IRS ID.me system. Side note to that, if you don't have one already, set one up. It's an excellent portal to have. You go to irs.gov and you'll click on login, and the next screen will say either individual or business. You're going to click individual and set up an ID.me account. It's actually a pretty quick process. You do have to upload the front and back of your driver's license or state ID, and then take a selfie with your smartphone. But it gives you access to everything: notices that are coming in, tax returns, W-2s that have been filed by employers, 1099s, like the whole 9 yards. So you're able to see everything, including making payments. If you don't set up an installment agreement, because I understand some people are on fixed budgets, they may not be in a position where they can tell the IRS, okay, on the 10th of every month, come and take $150. That might not work for them. They know that they need to pay $150 per month, but they can't commit to a specific date. So I tell them, set up the ID.me account, go in one time per month, whatever date works for you, but make sure it's at minimum one time per month, and make this minimum payment, which I calculate for them. And then the final option that we have is something that's called an offer in compromise or debt resolution. I'm sure you've heard those commercials on the radio and on TV. Those are typically for clients that owe much larger amounts. It is a process and there are fees entailed with the IRS for putting in those applications, but that would be something that I would refer to Herb, as I spoke about him previously. If you were to come to Tip Top, let's say you owe, $40,000 and you're trying to get an offer in compromise, which is basically saying to the IRS, hey, I can't afford this. They start looking at your assets and what you have coming in and going out. And I do want to say it's with a fine tooth comb. So if you're not looking to have them, dig through everything, an offer and compromise may not be for you. But the offer and compromise, again, is saying, hey, I can't afford this. Can you settle for this amount? And it is, as you've heard on the advertising, it is quite significantly less than what you would owe. But it is a very long process, very thorough process. And if agreed upon, then you have to pay that offer that you give them within a certain amount of time of it being approved.
Yes, I'm glad you gave that disclaimer.
Yeah.
Because
it's a fine tooth comb. And that's the most basic way that I can say it. They go through everything, bank accounts, assets, the whole 9 yards.
That's advance warning.
Mm-hmm.
Take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So if you have a $40,000 bill and you want to try to say you can't pay it, but they find out you can, you're wasting your time on an offer and compromise. You might as well set up a payment plan.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I love that. So if I were to back up a little bit, I know some of my people watching, they are in the beginning of starting their business structure. So they can come to me and have me help them open their ALFs. When it comes to setting up the business, what are some things that they should know? We have people that want to open the business just by themselves, and then you have others that want to joint venture with family members or friends or people that they know. When it comes to structuring the business, what some advice you have for them from a tax perspective and a business structure perspective?
Right. So again, like we mentioned in the beginning, that's going to be case by case basis. What I can tell you, the number one mistake that I have seen with the ALFs and with other businesses, not to just say it's ALF owners, when they get into a partnership with outside people or family members or whoever the case may be, but they elect one person to set it up as an LLC. That person then becomes responsible for setting that up and filing it on their personal tax return. So there's no real way to make everybody liable for income and expenses. The most that you can do with that is, let me just give you a really quick example. Let's say we have an ALF with 4 members, but it's set up in member A's name as an LLC. So they're the only one on the SunBiz. They're the only one on the EIN. And, so it has to be filed on their personal tax return. All that we can do to alleviate some of that income, let's just say, again, as an example, each partner got paid $20,000 that year. Partner B, C, and D would have to be issued a 1099 for $20,000 a piece in order for person A, who has everything up underneath them, to write off that $60,000. Set up as a partnership, which is how it should be. You can be a limited liability partnership as well. So I want to make that clear, because some people are, well, I don't want to just be a partnership, a corporation. You don't have to. On the partnership return, each person is listed. So the partnership return is done separately. It's not on anybody's personal return. It's a whole separate filing. And side note to that, let me be clear, if you are a partnership, if you are an S Corp, or if you are a C Corp, your tax return for those 3 types of filings are due March 15th of every year, not April 15th. That's personal tax returns. Partnerships, C Corps, and S Corps are due March 15th of each year. So going back to the partnership, we have a whole separate tax return. So we have partner A, B, C, and D listed on the tax return. It's their name, their social, Everything is allocated to each person. But the return itself is for the business. So we have all the income, all the expenses, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, and again, we're just going to make this example easy. We're going to assume that each partner owns 25% of the income and the profit and the loss, I'm sorry. At the end of the preparation of the tax return, if there is a profit, it's split 25, 25, 25, 25. If there is a loss, it's split 25, 25, 25, 25. Each one of those partners will receive what's called a K1 because there is no balance due and no refund on a partnership return. It's for reporting purposes. But that K1 with that profit or that loss is then given to each partner, and each partner then files that on their personal tax return. So I know that was a bit of a mouthful, but partnerships are the number one, like I said, that I see that it's set up incorrectly. Each person is different. So some I may say, no, set it up as an LLC in the beginning. Let's see how it goes. And then maybe we'll switch you to an S Corp if it's just an individual. Or you're about to have multiple locations and you already have a lot going on and it's just a person. Okay, we're going to make you a C Corp. Each situation is different, but I would say that's the number one thing that people would need to watch for when setting up multiple partners or two partners even. It should be set up as a partnership, not a single member LLC.
Yeah, that is beautifully said. And you mentioned limited partnership and also the C Corp. What about an S Corp? What would make somebody fall under the S Corp?
So I would say once you're going to take it to like the next level. So maybe you started off as a single member LLC, but now you're about to have a few more locations, or maybe that one location is just, booming. Now you're making, instead of making, 50,000 a year with 30,000 of it going to expenses and whatnot, now you're making 200,000 a year and you've brought down your expenses to where there's a profit of like 150. We would want to move that to an S Corp only because it gives you a bigger tax break.
Yeah, I heard that.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Once you open your ALF, you'll be on the bigger end.
Right. And that's the goal, right? The whole goal is to grow and to expand and to have that income coming in and to figure out where we can cut on expenses. And it's, sometimes the misconception of sometimes with tax preparation is, oh, I want to make sure I have all these expenses because then I'm not going to have this big profit and owe all this money. What are we in it for then?
Yeah, that is true.
Right? That's where you start figuring out, okay, well, I'm making the money, but how can I divert the tax liability? Oh, okay, let me put myself on payroll. Okay, that takes care of that. I pay myself $100,000 a year. I've already paid all my taxes, just like as if I worked at Walmart or McDonald's. I'm getting a weekly paycheck. And at the end of the year, I get a W-2. I've already paid, boom, that takes care of that. Okay, now I have all these expenses, my property tax. I did some upgrades on the ALF itself. I installed another wheelchair access or, whatever the case may be. You have all of those expenses, but we don't want to just, buy things and continually spend the money to get rid of it just so we can say that we have deductions to get rid of the money, because there's other ways to funnel that tax liability. So at the end of the year, it's not, oh, sorry, Carline, you made quite a bit of money and you owe them 30 grand all at once. No, we want to say, okay, no, this was a great year. We did all the math, and yeah, you owe them $1,000 at the end of the day, but you're showing yourself at a profit of, 6 figures.
And that's what I want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody want to go through all of this because starting any business is hard. Mm-hmm. You work a lot of long hours for free, okay? Yeah. Because you have to set up the business.
Absolutely.
And you couple that with the fact that starting an ALF, there's initial investment up front. So definitely you want to make money while you're helping the lives of the seniors, because at the end of the day, if we pretend we don't want to make money, we're lying to ourselves. We want to serve, give a good product, make a difference. And help yourself as well, because that's
Absolutely.
all
And
of
it
it is part of the
and
whole
it
point.
comes into also, like we were speaking before, with lending and lines of credit and things. If I'm going somewhere, and again, we're just going to use the office where, oh, I made 100,000, but I spent 70 of it. Okay, let me plunk some stuff in. If I go to get a line of credit and the financial manager over there says, okay, well, let me see the last 3 years of your tax returns. And on every tax return for the last 3 years, it's shown, well, I made 100,000, but after everything was said and done, I'm only showing a $15,000 profit. They're going to look at you and say, well, how can I give you a line of credit? You're not making anything. You're constantly in a loss, or you're just barely, because, oh, I have dependents that I'm claiming and I want to make sure I'm in a certain bracket so that I can get back a refund. Are you looking for a once a year refund, or are you looking to make money, properly manage it, and pay the taxes throughout the year so you can possibly still get a refund, but you're showing that you're making money at the same time? Because taking a loss every year is not going to get you anywhere in the financial world.
Okay, you guys heard that, right?
And it happens. So it happens. Let me not say that too, though, to the new business owners, because even myself, the first couple of years, it's a give and take. You're a new business. You're just getting off the ground. Maybe your expenses do outweigh your profit, which is typical. But I'm saying, like, if you haven't figured it out, to where you're just constantly, oh, I'm just constantly in the hole. Every year I'm taking a $20,000 loss. I'm taking this. You're not going to get anywhere in the rest of the financial world with expanding if you're not making a profit.
Yes, because I would say a lot of the things that we do is we need a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can be so focused on not paying Uncle Sam when you're creating more problems for yourself and you're pushing your back against the wall.
Absolutely.
And so even as new business owners, your mindset should always be focused on your expenses, because you're in business to make money.
Correct.
But oftentimes I've seen in ALF settings where the money is coming in and then you hear, oh, we didn't make any money. Well, that's because you're spending the money. The money did come in. What did you do with that?
Yeah.
And then I've also seen with people starting their business, because that's all I do. So I see all the stories. And then they're like, I'm going to make an additional room. I'm going to make the house look perfect. You're spending all this money when in reality, when you open, you're going to need money to market, money to bring client in. And you squeeze yourself in the wall. And from a tax professional, she's telling you, if you end up doing that, even beyond not making money, you put a cap over yourself, because now you can't grow, because no one will lend you money, because you're not making any money to pay them back.
And you might be, you're just not showing it. You're trying to hurry up and get rid of it. And again, let's be clear, furthering your business is not a bad thing. So like you just mentioned, oh, I want to upgrade this room, or I want to, put a new air conditioner in. Yes, do those things. We're specifically talking about, it looks like I'm about to have a $60,000 profit. That's a lot of tax to pay at once. Let me hurry up and try to get rid of some stuff so that it's going to bring it down, so I can get a refund, because I'm getting credits for whatever I'm getting on the back end with, dependents and whatnot. But then also I'm not showing that I'm really making any money. To solve that problem, I would say two things. Consider payroll. And this is coming from a tax professional that had to learn this the hard way herself in the beginning. I have been on payroll for 8 years with Tip Top Taxes, because I learned the hard way that if I make money throughout the year and at the end of the year I have X amount of money left over, I have to pay tax on that all at once, because I didn't spread it out throughout the year. And if you don't want to do payroll, at least consider estimated taxes. And again, that's a case-by-case basis and a conversation that we can have if you decide to call us.
Yes, I love that. Any advice for traveling nurses? We have a lot of our clients that are traveling nurses and they do work long hours, and any advice for them?
So again, it depends on how they're getting paid, because I do actually have traveling nurses that are on W-2, and I also have ones that are 1099. The ones that are 1099, again, some of them we've set up a separate LLC so that they can run payroll. Others are not so much wanting to do payroll. They do the estimated payments every quarter. Some traveling nurses or professionals receive a stipend for housing, so that's covered. There's not really a lot of expenses that they can claim, I'm sorry to say, but some are not. They have to, they'll rent an Airbnb or pay for a hotel because they're only in that specific city or state for maybe 30 to 60 days. So there's things that we can keep track of, again, case by case basis, something that we can interview and talk about if you decide to call in. But I would say that if you have expenses that are related to travel, even if you're paying for the travel itself, if you're having to fly to Chicago and you're going to be in Chicago for 30 days and then you fly back, that is an expense that you're taking on for that particular business that you're not being reimbursed to. So again, having an LLC set up is a great thing, because then we can start using the LLC to deduct those expenses that you normally would not qualify for as a W-2 employee.
I love that. How can they find you? Because we can go into so much, but
right. Yeah.
how can
Taxes
they
are
find
very
you?
in depth. Yeah. So if you want to find me, the best way obviously is to call into the office. Like I said, we're open year round. If we missed your call, please leave a message. Somebody will return your call within the 24-hour period. That phone number is 954-226-1326. And then you can also find us on the website, www.tiptoptaxes.com. And we are also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So if you're on any of those platforms, they are all coincided. So if you're on Instagram, you're going to see the same thing that's posted on Facebook. I know some people are only on one app or two, but you can find us on those apps as well. I try to post videos to update clients, educate clients throughout the year, things to watch out for, things to take note of. So just trying to keep you guys up to speed, whether you are a client or not.
I love that. I love that. Well, Miss Jody, we will add your information on the description.
Yes.
If you found any value in this, because I learned so much. If you found any value in this, reach out to her office, find her on social media, send her a message, and let her know what was your big aha moment. What was the big takeaway that you got? And we love to serve you, and we are happy that you spent the time with us and you learned a lot, because we want you to succeed. We want you to do well. We want you to go out, make a difference, and then create that generational wealth for yourself.
Absolutely.
Any last word for them?
I just want to say thank you, Carline. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me. And if you guys have not attended her ALF conference, make sure you do so, because last year was the first year. And when I say, honey, it was sold out. We had so many professionals there giving so much great advice to so many people that were either just starting out, maybe already established and looking to grow. It is a wealth of information and definitely worth something attending. But thank you again, Carline. As always, it's a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to get on your platform to educate others. And everybody out there, thank you so much for watching the video, liking, sharing, and being a part of the community.
Yes, I'm grateful that you came and helped us out today. And please consider to like, subscribe. We are looking forward to seeing you at the conference. Jody will be there. Until next time, I will see you on the next one. Have a good day. This video is brought to you by the Florida Assisted Living and Caregivers Conference. It is an annual conference for all those who want to open an assisted living right here in Florida. We bring you all of the who's that will help you achieve your ALF. We have caregivers, we have people that already have their assisted living up and running, and they are here for resources. We have caregivers caring for mom and dad at home, but lack resources, so they show up for more resources. We have investors that are in the room looking for partnerships because they don't necessarily want to manage, but they are looking for someone to do the day-to-day while they can do the other investments. We also bring to you all of the sub-industries, those providers that help you get your ALF up and running, the providers that will come to your ALF to provide services to your seniors. We bring everyone in the room for the first time. This event normally sells out. Click the link in the description and I will see you in the room.